and we're going to jump into the dashboard. So if you haven't signed up for the free version yet, this is what the dashboard will look like. You'll have your projects listed here. For anybody that gets the Pro or the Enterprise monthly or annual license, those include phone, chat, and email support. So you'll see here the support contact in the top right with the little chat box you can also pop open. So email, phone number, and also the live chat here. You also have the support tab in the bottom left, and that'll take you to our tutorial page where you can look at each step of the software has its own tutorial page with different topics that are covered. So whether it's how to add or remove a level in the layout step, or how to create a gable roof on the roof step, or how to change the sun orientation on the HD rendering where you take the actual photorealistic image. There's different videos that cover different topics, and you can find those on the support tab here. But to get started, I'm going to click create a new project right here. We'll just call this demo. And I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, so I'm going to stick with Imperial. But if anybody's watching this in maybe the UK or somewhere else around the world where you're going to be using metric, you can change it here. But I'm going to stick with Imperial. We're going to click the check mark here in the bottom right to go to the next page. This is the project information page. And right now, it's, other than the name of it, it's blank. But at the end, we'll have a table of surfaces shown that has the square footage of each room, each level, and the project as a whole. Blueprints will have obviously your 2D blueprints, and you can generate a PDF of that to scale, to print out, or email to whoever you need. And then the HD pictures will be your actual photorealistic 3D rendering. So we'll see that here at the end. I'm going to click draw down here in the bottom right to get started. And just so you know, when it opens up, you can start from scratch. And just if you're doing maybe a single room interior project, like a kitchen remodel or a bathroom remodel, you can draw from scratch if you want. But for what I'm looking to do today with this project, we're going to show how to import an existing plan that you can start with and then basically trace over. So what we do is you open up the project, you see the grid paper here. The different steps of the software are listed across the top from left to right. So we're going to start with the layout, work from left to right over to the plan step. But on the layout step here at the beginning is where we'll draw out the 2D blueprint. So if you have an existing plan, what you can do is come here, and on the right-hand panel, you have the option right here to trace image. If I click that and click import your trace image, I'll be able to select a file from my computer that I want to use. So I'm going to select this one. The first thing we're going to do is set it to scale. So you see this blue line that goes from dot to dot. That's our ruler to set it to scale. You can see on the right-hand side, it says ruler settings. And what we want to do is right now, if we didn't change anything, you would think that this wall from left to right is 14 feet, 9 1/4 inches. But we can see here in the bottom, our measurements from the porch, and right here, it actually needs to be 31 feet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this, type in 31 feet, click validate, and it uploads my plan for me here. So now I have a template that I can trace over instead of figuring out where to start and stop each wall and drawing from scratch. This will be much quicker. So now that this is up here, I can click whichever wall option I want. Let's say the brick wall, exterior wall icon here. That doesn't mean it has to be brick. That's just showing the exterior walls. And when I do that, you can see the cursor here with the little green dot on the grid paper now. And I can just left click to drop my first point wherever I want and start clicking and dragging. So I can go like this. Here we go. Here we go. And we've got our walls. So I wanted to make it a little off. You can see right here, we want it to be 31 feet. Right now it says 31 1/4 inch. So if you want to change that, there's two ways. You can take this, you can left click either wall on the left or right, and you can drag it like this. Or you can left click this dimension, and I could type in 31 feet, hit the arrow, and I see it 31 feet now. So now that we've done the exterior walls, you can see it in real time in the top right. You have your 3D view up here with your 2D view on the main screen. So now I could choose the partition wall for the interior walls and do the same thing. I could start tracing this out by just left clicking wherever I want to drop my first point and continuously drawing. You can see here, every time I enclose a room, it puts the room name, like room 1, room 2, room 3. So obviously I'm talking you through it, so it's going to take me a little bit longer than normal, but if I was doing this on my own without doing the demo and talking you through it, I'd do this in less than 1 minute. So it's very quick and easy to do, very user friendly. Let's get this here. We've got a few more walls to add in. One thing I want to point out as I'm doing this is that anytime you see a door icon, so I'll show you down here as I trace, like right here for bedroom 3, that little door icon, even though there's going to be a door there, we still want to take this wall and draw over it, because on the next step, when we place the door there, it'll automatically create the opening in the wall for it. So just make sure you're tracing over all of those, but you can see I have one more wall here and right here. So now you can see, there we go. So you can see in the top right, the 3D view of the layout. Here we have the 2D view. Once you've drawn out or traced out your plan like this, you can go up here to the top right where it says show settings, and you can go down to the option that says trace right here and just check that box, and you'll see it get rid of your template. So now it's much easier to read. You can see the different rooms, and you can see the square footage of each room that was calculated automatically based on the dimensions. So once we're here, you can change the room names, and there's 2 ways to do it. You can go here underneath the layout. You have the room types option. I can go here and, for example, room 1, let's just say that's the living room. I can left click living room, drop that little icon here, and it changes it to living room automatically. Kitchen, I could do kitchen. Master bedroom, I could do here. Now, say you want to give it, you scroll through and you don't see an option that says maybe pantry. Let's say room 3 right here is pantry. I can also, instead of using the room types option, I can left click right there, and it'll highlight a little blue box around room 3 that you can see. And it'll show on the right-hand panel, room 3. So you're going to hear me say multiple times today, right-hand panel is your customization panel. Just keep that in mind anytime you need to change something like the name of a room, the height of a cabinet, the color of a door or window, whatever it is. Anytime you make a customization or a change, it's going to be done on the right-hand panel. So you can see where it says room 3, and it has the name option here. So I could highlight that and type pantry, and now you see it say pantry there. So, room 6, this could be laundry room. I could say laundry. But like I said, you have that option, or you can use the room types and just left click them, say bathroom is room 9, say closet is right here in the front room, closet right here in room 10. Go here and say bathroom, so bathroom, and you have the bathroom there, and then let's just say room 5, let's call this office. So you can see all your different room names here. Another thing you can do on the layout step is if you go to the levels option, let's say this is a single story house, but it needs one more level to have the attic above it. We can go to the levels here. I can click add level, and it'll ask me right here if I want to duplicate from the previous floor. So if I click yes, it adds the walls to that level for me for the exterior walls. So that's it for the layout step. That's the basics there. You can see it's very easy and user-friendly to get everything sketched out. So once we've done this, the next step is to go to the wall openings. And this is going to be where we put in our windows and doors. So this step is very easy. The hardest part here is going to be getting familiar with where everything's located in the catalog. So you can see here, there's subcategories of the different options. For example, if I click exterior door, then you're going to have subcategories of different types. Garage doors obviously being exterior, but single doors, double doors. If I go into the modern single doors, this might be something you see in more modern architecture, like out west in Denver, Colorado, or maybe in an Austin, Texas area, or wherever it might be. So, modern type single doors here. If I go into craftsman and rustic, that might be something I see down here more in the South in Georgia with the modern farmhouses and the craftsman style. So they're all broken down by category. You also have the search bar up here, so you can search whether it's typing in the size that you're looking for, saying Okay, you know that you always use the 36 by 80 Craftsman front door. So instead of going to Craftsman, you could just come here and type in 80 and see if it comes up. Sometimes they'll come up. So you can see here's one of the Craftsman door options, the front door with the side light. Here's a double door, 80 inches tall, and here's more. So you can type that in, but you go through this your first project or two, look through the different categories and go through the different subcategories of options. And after 2 or 3 projects, you'll be very familiar with where everything's located. But once you choose a door, let's just say I choose this option. Let's just say I choose the 36 by 80 Craftsman front door. When you go to place it, it's just a little white icon that snaps into the wall, and you can see the dimensions on either side. So when I place it, you can see here, let's go right there. So now I can see it's 2 feet off of this closet wall. You also see it appear in real time up top. And now what you can do is, like I said earlier, right-hand panel to customize it. If you need to change the dimensions of it, you can. If you need to change, right now it's opening in the house towards the left-hand side. Maybe we want it to open outside the house towards the right-hand side. You can come here on the right-hand panel to change the orientation, and you see it flip on the 2D plan there. And then if we change direction, you'll see it change on the 2D plan, but you'll also see the handle on the door in the 3D view switch. So I can change direction, and now it's swinging the opposite way. You also, on the right-hand panel of the wall opening step, you'll have this little paint pad here, and that's where you can go to change the color of the door, the handles. On the windows, you'll be able to change the color of the frame. So you can come here and say, door, let's change it to a white front door. If you wanted to change the handle, I think the white with the black looks good, but if you want to change it to a different color, you can see you've got different, aluminum, you've got gray, you've got white handles, gold, so different options there. So same thing for the windows, just like the door, go through it on your first project or two. And if you go, for example, window, and you go into the hung windows, if you look at the colonial grid option, you have single windows with grids on them. Scroll over, double windows with grids. Keep going, you have triple windows with grids here. But maybe you're looking for the hung windows without a grid. You go here and you see all the same sizes, but these ones don't have the grid on them. So it's just getting familiar with where all these are located. But once you actually left click whichever one you want to use to select it, it highlights a green box around it, and you just go place it, and it's very easy. It snaps it into the wall, so you can't go anywhere other than a wall with it, and you see the dimension or the measurement on either side. So if it needs to be perfectly centered between 2 walls, you can see here 3 feet 10 3/4 inches from the edge of the window to this corner, 3 feet 10 3/4 inches from the edge of the window to this corner right there. And same thing as the door. If you go here and click the paint pad on the right-hand side, you could do things like, I could say exterior frame. I could go here and look through different color options, and we could change it to a black, and you see it change to black there. So very easy on that step. It's just getting familiar with where everything's located. So be sure to go through and look through the catalog and utilize that search bar function here in the top left once you start getting familiar with the names or the sizes of the different things you're going to use. Okay, the next step is going to be the roof step. So if I go here to the roof, what I want to do is make sure I'm on the top floor, and the roof is the hardest step on Cedreo. So keep that in mind and don't be discouraged when you get here. That's where the support is included to help with this. This is the majority of our questions we get through the support email and phone and chat is regarding the roof step. So that's where you can get here and say, okay, pop the chat open, and you see Henry and Michelle and say, hey guys, I'm struggling to get my roof on the house. Can you give me a hand? They can take a look at the project and see where the issue is. But just keep that in mind. Don't be discouraged if you get to this step and it's a little difficult. It's like that with any design software. It's always the hardest step, and it's the same with Cedreo, but it's still relatively user-friendly. So we do have the automatic roof detection. So for a rectangular or square house like this, that's very simple. You could just left click that box and then choose the type of roof you want. Let's just say we want a gable roof on it. If I left click gable, it'll highlight this area green, basically asking, do we want this area covered with the roof? So if I click that little check mark in the middle that you see the gable appear in real time. So again, the right-hand panel, customization, you can change the angle of it. Maybe we want to be a little more flat like this. If you want to change the direction of the gable, you can do things like go here and you see the orange lines around the outside of the house. Those are the roof edges. So if I left click one of these roof edges, it'll come here on the right hand side and give me the option for ridge start. And if I click that right here on the right hand side, it changes the gable from left to right. Now it's going front to back. So if I want to change it again, just click one of these orange roof edges, click ridge start, and we see it flip for us. You can also come here and select one of these roof edges. Let's choose this one on the right, and you can add an overhang on the right hand side. So you can see right here, it just stops at the edge of the roof. But if I go to the overhang and type in, let's just say 18 inches, click enter, you see the overhang created automatically on that side. But it'll ask you here, do you want to apply that overhang to the entire roof? So if I click all, we see it on the front, both sides, and also back here in the back. So you can also go there on the right hand side underneath overhang and click the little box labeled soffit to enclose it there. And it'll ask the same thing. Do we want to apply it to all bottom slopes? Because you can see this one doesn't have it, but if I click yes, it automatically encloses it just like the other side for us. So like I said, when you get here, be sure to reach out. We're glad to help answer any questions, but this will be the most difficult step of all of them up here, but we're here to help guide you and give you tips and pointers when needed. So we'll jump now to the exterior step. And before I start doing anything on this, I wanted to point out up here in the top right, the little floppy disk icon, that's your manual save option. So I'm going to left click it to manually save it. But just so everybody knows, we do have an automatic backup that'll save every 10 minutes, no matter what. That way, if your internet goes out or your computer dies or whatever it might be, you're not going to lose all of your work. So just keep that in mind, but you can save it manually every time you want to. So if you do a lot of work and you just added a lot of detail and you want to make sure that it doesn't get lost, just click that little floppy disk icon up here and it'll save for you. So this exterior step is regarding the flat ground 2D stuff. So things like your driveway, your walking paths from the front door to the driveway, your flower beds, things like that. So I can go to the terrain level and I could do things like go to pavement, and we could do, let's say, paths here, and I'll do a driveway down the side of the house. So let's say we put a driveway down the side like this. You see it up here in real time up here. You can also change the width of it. Let's just say 20 feet. And then maybe we want a walkway that goes from the front door over to the driveway. So I could do walkway. You can just put it here. Let's just say we pull it out to there and connect it to the driveway. And you can see it up here in real time up there. Maybe, in this little space right here between the walkway and the house, maybe they want a flower bed. You could do something like go to spaces and you see the softscape with the flower. So I could say, okay, let's do a flower bed from the corner of the house like that. And you can see it up here in real time up here. So it's just the flat ground stuff. You'll see here in a few seconds that we also have obviously the exterior 3D stuff like trees, bushes, hedges, actual flowers and plants and things like that. But that'll be done on the next step. So once you're done adding in your driveways, your walkways, your flower beds, you could do things like embankments and retaining walls as well. But once you've done all of this and we click furnishings, you're going to see where it flips to now the 3D is on the main screen with the 2D view up top. So this is where you could go in and say, okay, let's take right here in my settings, you have the roof option. I'm going to hide the roof and do this. And so this is where you could say, okay, we want to start, maybe laying out our cabinets. We want to show the kitchen layout where it's the open floor plan versus the separate rooms with a wall in between them. So when you go to furnishings, you can get into whatever room you want to work in, whether it's inside the house or if you want to decorate outside the house, but you can move your viewpoint around and then open this catalog. And just like the wall openings, you're going to have different categories. So if I go into kitchen, for example, and then you have the kitchen cabinets, these are different. The modern facade has a different look on the front. There's no handles or knobs. Push and pull front, there's no handles and knobs again. It's more of like the wood with the little cutout insert for your fingers to grab. If I go into the US Classic facade, it's more of your shaker style cabinets. Let's just look at some of these, for example. So If you go in here, you might have something like this. Okay, we have a single swinging cabinet door like that that's 9 inches wide, and we want to put that right here. We have this one that has the single swinging door with the single pull drawer up top. Or do we want the double swinging with double pull drawer? And this one's the double swinging with double pull. So there's all these different options, different styles. You've got ones with cabinets like this. You'll see here when I show you another fully furnished one in a second, wall hanging cabinets like this. If I go over, let's just say you have dishwashers as well. It's the one with the dishwasher built in. But once you've placed all of these, you can select any one cabinet. Let's just select this one in the middle. And again, right-hand panel, you can change the dimensions of it if you need to make them taller or shorter. But if we click that color pad here, we can say, okay, we want the front of the cabinets to be, say, white. So you see it changed the one cabinet, but if you ask right here to apply it to all the similar products, the front of all of them changed to white. If you want to change the countertop, right now it's black quartz. We can go to worktop. You can see black quartz. Maybe we want to look at a white marble like this. Or maybe they want to look at a butcher block top, whatever it might be. Go here and do butcher block. Or if it's an outdoor kitchen that you're doing maybe and they want the concrete countertop for the weatherproof, you can do the concrete here. So you can change the material on this countertop. Down here that you see the baseboards are still the oak color. You can change that as well if you want to change the baseboard here. So you could either leave it with the oak if it's going to have some oak wood floors that you want them to match, or if you want them to be white like the cabinets, we can come here and change it white, and you see the baseboards on all of them change. So changing the color of cabinets, the worktop material, changing the color of the handles. If we wanted, you could say, okay, we want to look at gold handles like this. Maybe a client comes back and says, you know what, let's go back. We want to have the black handles. So we go here, the black handles. So very easy to place and customize them. So what I want to do is I want to jump out of this project and go over here to one that's fully furnished like this. So you can see cabinets are laid out like this. You've got wall hanging cabinets. I did 2 different examples, one with the glass front, one with the enclosed front. You can see cabinets over on the other side with the stove top. You see the dishwasher, the fridge. So you've got all your different options. If they wanted to change the materials, it's just going to the material steps. So maybe they want to look at a hardwood floor that's a different color. Open the catalog, and again, it's all broken down into categories. Say floor tiles, and if we looked at the wood, maybe they look at a lighter color, and you just left click it and it puts that green box around whatever you select. You place it on the floor and you can see it in real time here. So maybe I go back to the dark one and leave the dark wood floor. So say we're ready to take our first rendering and we want to show the open floor plan first. This is where we can come here and you go to the HD visual step. And it's as easy as coming here, selecting your environment. So whether we want the meadow with the sun. If you zoom out, you see the sun option here, and that's where you can choose the sun orientation and make it higher. You can see here if I can spin it around the house depending on where I want to show it. You can make it go higher, make it go lower, whatever you want. But once you've done that, you come in here and you set your camera to whatever angle you want. Let's just say we want to take it from back here. You click ask for rendering, and it's going to tell you the status. It should be about 2 minutes. Give it just a second to pop up here. So yeah, 1 minute and 45 seconds. So while it's taking our first rendering, we can actually go in here and start making changes that we want to make so that we can take our next rendering as soon as this one's done. So let's say we want to extend this wall behind the fridge over here. We're going to separate the living room from the kitchen and make it into, instead of the open floor plan, we're going to have it a little more secluded. So I go in here and go to the layout step. Let's go in here. And you see that little partial wall here? So I can just left click that wall and take the dot and drag it over. You'll see here, I'll go into the inside of this house so you can see it. So now you can see the wall here in the living room between the kitchen. Now we just need to create the little framed opening to walk through between the two rooms. So I can go to wall openings. Let's go to opening here and do rectangular. And I'll just do the rectangular cased opening. Let's just say we want it, about, let's say 3.5 feet off that left wall. So you can see 3.5 feet off that left wall there. So now, if we go in, we see our new layout with the wall separating the two rooms. So now you can show your client two different options for their kitchen remodel, or if it's a new home being built and they have the option to remove that wall to make the open floor plan, now you can show them what that looks like before construction starts. And you can see here, if we go to HD visual, we should have our first rendering almost done. So yep, 5 seconds. So if I go here, I can show you some other options or some other ones that have been done like this. So you can see here the open floor plan with the sun. You can see when you set the sun that comes through the windows, it creates a realistic shadow based on what you have. You can see the back of the chair here with the creating the shadow, the grids on the window creating that shadow. Over here in the living room, you can see them. So everything's very photorealistic and takes into account where the sun is. If you have a mirror on a wall, it's going to show the reflection of what's on the opposite wall. So you can see here's option A for our client. Now we could go back to the rendering, click ask for rendering again with the new view, and it's going to take that for us. So while it takes the new rendering, we can come in here to the next step, which is the plan step, where you can customize what's going to be shown on your 2D blueprint. So you can come here and do things like room paint. If they wanted to color coordinate the rooms, based on bedrooms, you could do that, where you show, okay, all of the bedrooms are gray, bathrooms are going to be blue, living spaces are yellow, closets are orange, whatever we want. So pantry, closet, and that closet there. So you could color code rooms like this if you wanted. You could add symbols. So if you want to show the 2D symbols in the kitchen, for the kitchen layout, you have kitchen cabinets here. So you can look at kitchen cabinet symbols. Or if you're in the bedroom wanting to show how the bedroom's going to be laid out, you have the bed symbols. Going to technical, you have things like water heater. So okay, we're going to have the water heater here in the cellar. We're going to have the lighting. You can show where the lights are going to be located, and maybe the pot lights in the kitchen. And you want to show we're going to have one here, here, and here. So you can add these symbols on your 2D floor plan. Then you can also do things like I showed you at the beginning with the elevations, the section views, all of that. So you'll see here, this is where you can go to the floor plan. If we go to the ground floor, you can also add things. So maybe they want to know how long this partial wall is. You can do things like go into dimensions with the tape measure and do a manual drawing dimension and say, okay, from here to here, 5.5 feet, we can put that there for them. Maybe they want to know how much it would be if they get rid of the swinging door in the pantry and add the sliding barn door. So you could do something like annotation here, where you go line and arrow, draw a line with an arrow out here, and add a text box and say sliding barn door can be added for additional 400. You can put this little text box out here. So you can customize anything that you want to be shown on the 2D blueprint. If we go back to the plans, you can see here, this is where you could do a site plan, and you can see the lot that I traced out. You can see as you zoom in the walkway here. So you could do a site plan. You go to the roof plan there. I showed you that at the beginning, but you can see here, if I go to elevation, you can add an elevation view. We already have one created for the front like that and one for the side, but if you want to do the back, Do the back as well. Do one maybe kind of from the side like this. Click OK so you can have it from the side. Below the elevations, you have the section view. So you can see here where we have the first section view there. Second section view right here from the side. But you could create them from wherever you want. And then one more thing that I wanted to show that I'm not sure if you could see from the interior, but if you look on the exterior, you can see here that if you're in the backyard, you can see how you're up above the driveway. And if we're down here at the driveway and the pond in the side yard, you can see the hill that's going from the driveway right here up to the front of the house. So Cedreo gives you the ability to create these automatic slopes on your terrain. And that's done on the layout step where I did the site plan on the land option here. So if you go to land, you can see where the site plan is right here. But if you scroll in and zoom in, these lines that I added right here. So this is an elevation line, this purple line right there. And then this is an elevation line right here. And I did 12 feet there. If I added another elevation line, you can make it go up the hill. But you do that here on the layout step, and you can see a rendering of that, of the exterior, by going to the gallery. I took this earlier to show you. I'll show you as we get back out of the project. So now that we've done all this, we customized our blueprints. We've got our HD renderings taken for our client. I'm going to come here and click close, click save and close. So now we're back on the project information page I mentioned earlier. It was blank before, but now you can see table of surfaces. It has the square footage of the lot, square footage of the house footprint. You go down, you've got the square footage of the ground floor down here. Ground floor square footage shows the total with every room above it broken down by room. So you can download that to show the table. You can also come here to the blueprints. And if you scroll over, you can see the blueprint that we customized with the new text added, the new custom measurement to show that partial wall measurement there, the light placement for the pot lights in the kitchen, our color-coded rooms, all of that. And when you've done this, you can generate a PDF of the blueprint. You can set it to scale if needed. So if you need 1/4 inch to a foot or 1/8 of an inch to a foot, whatever you need here, you can look through all the different scaling options, changing the orientation, whatever you need. So you can generate a PDF of this to share with your contractors, your client, whoever it may be. And then we come back here, we have all of our renderings that have been taken. And you can see, here's the open floor plan option. If we scroll back, you can see different viewpoints that have been taken from the front of the kitchen. Here's one of the front of the house. So you can see all these different daytime, nighttime, all those different options. So I hope this helped and made things more clear of how Cedreo can help you not only speed up your designs, but mainly speed up your sales process with your clients, being able to provide them 3D images like this to show, do we like the open floor plan option of the kitchen like this? Or do we like option B, where there's a little more privacy between the two rooms with the wall between it? Whether it's a new home being built and the construction hasn't started, so you're trying to show options of that floor plan and the different things that can be changed in there, or whether it's a client that comes to you and says, this is our existing kitchen, we have a wall between it, we're thinking about knocking it out, and we want to see what it would look like with the open floor plan, being able to show them this instead of just having them guess what it's going to look like and wonder if they're going to like it. So speeding up the sales process, speeding up your design process, eliminating any need for outsourced rendering services and things like that. But that's where Cedreo is built to help you. So I hope everybody enjoyed it today, but hope everybody has a great rest of your day and hope to talk to you soon.